Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series.
Because creators are businesses.
What we do is not simple.
Give, the fans everything that they deserve.
Being creative
is like doing a 5,000 piece puzzle.
is something that you can learn and do over and over again.
Always be as authentic as I can be.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the conversation series. I am so excited today to have Miss Meredith Ray here with me. She is the director of content at our newest NHL team, the Utah Mammoth. We finally have a name, which we are so excited about. We waited a whole year for that, but I'm so excited. Meredith, thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course. Thank you, Danielle. So excited to be a part of this today. And I know it's so wild to be called Utah Mammoth. Now I'm still trying to train my brain. I was so like hockey club, hockey club, hockey club for so long that now I'm like, okay, we're Mammoth now. We have
Mammoth. Mammoth.
I know.
I want to get into, first off, I always love to start with the beginning story of, for you, you have this very, very long career already of being in sports, working in sports. What started your passion in sports? Where did your love start?
Yeah, so it's funny. My extended family, my dad, my cousins, I'm an only child, but all of my family, they were all amazing, amazing sports athletes. My dad played for the Los Angeles Angels before they were Anaheim Angels, was a baseball player. I've had cousins that were amazing, amazing football players and baseball players as well. My dad always says that when I did softball as a child, that he was like, oh no, this is not going well. Like, she's not going to be a sports girly. I tried my best. I tried my best when I was younger, but just I was surrounded by such a sports loving family.
Yeah.
My entire childhood, with all my memories that came from my childhood come from going to cousins' football games, going to baseball games with my family. We grew up big San Francisco Giants fans. So we were always at Giants games and just being around that sports environment. I absolutely loved it. And even though I, wasn't that good, didn't play myself, but I absolutely just loved the environment and being a part of something so fun and exciting. And when I was in college and I learned that that was actually a career path that you could do, I was like, all right, let's do it. I'm all in.
And I love that you have such a background, like a familial background with it too. I can totally resonate with you. I was the kid, as my parents will describe me. I was in soccer and I was the kid who was in the backfield just picking dandelions and flowers out of the ground. So I'm right there with you that they were like, this may not be a thing for Danielle to be involved in all these kinds of situations, but here we are.
Yeah, they put me in some more individual sports like golf. I was a great golfer as a child, but all these like fun team sports, I was just, my sports gene was lacking.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe it skips a generation, so if I ever have kids, maybe they'll get the sports gene, but my family was like, gosh darn it, this missed you.
I'm totally there with you. I'm a runner, and so I'm like, yep, this is like an individual sport kind of situation here. We're gonna keep riding this train. You've worked with some powerhouse brands, Seattle Seahawks, Amazon, Microsoft, and now a brand new franchise team with the Utah Mammoth. What's been the through line in your journey across all these very vastly different organizations?
I would say the through line is finding something that I was passionate about and figuring out a way to tell that story in the most unique way possible.
Okay.
When I was at the Seahawks, social was very much so like a newer-ish thing that companies were starting to be a part of back in 2018. And showcasing player personality wasn't something that they really did.
Yeah.
That was also during the Pete Carroll era. So love him, but it was very buttoned up in terms of, showcasing player personality and things like that. It was very much so like football only, all the other stuff comes second, was very much so the culture at the time. we did things like Snapchat takeovers during training camp. Here I am, like aging myself. But
I mean, it's one of those like Snapchat. My God, like it's not one of the big ones anymore.
it is not. I recently deleted my Snapchat. I had a couple people some friends from college that would still send me Snapchats, and I was like, please text me.
I'm
Please,
right
we have to
there. I'm
find
right there
another
with you.
more.
I'm like you guys. I'm 28 years old. We shouldn't be having conversations on Snapchat at this age. Like I'm like, we've got it. You can text, call me, you can do anything you want. Just don't Snapchat me, please.
Yeah, like do anything else.
Yeah.
So
Keep
here I
going.
am aging. Here I am aging myself. But and then TikTok became a thing as well. And I remember doing this write up for my boss at the time, and I was like, we should be on TikTok. This is this new thing. It's great.
Yeah.
It's like we need to be on it. And he did not see the value in it at the time, which I totally understand because, I hear of new social platforms now and I'm like, I don't know what this is. This seems silly. But that was kind of just like the era at the time, right? There were all of these like emerging platforms. We didn't really know what in the world was going on with them. But what I really wanted to do was to kind of like use those platforms in a way to storytell with our athletes.
Yeah.
So that was my process there at the Seahawks. When I left the Seahawks and went over to Amazon and Microsoft, I learned that working in tech is very different from working in sports, very slow moving. If I wanted to tell stories in different ways, it, had to pass through 10 lines of approvals and everything had to have a 25-page brief and all of these things. And that certainly taught me a lot to where I am today. It just took a lot of getting used to. I had to find ways to be passionate about deliveries when I was at Amazon. I worked on a really fun project where we talked about sustainable deliveries that Amazon does, particularly in the UK. So I got to go with my team over to the UK. We had this whole shoot where we filmed e-bike deliveries, electric van deliveries, all of that fun stuff to tell our followers about Amazon's work in the sustainability world. So very different from sports, but still finding ways to be passionate about something. And then when I was over at Microsoft, one fun content piece that we did was the Excel World Championships, which
very cool.
If you are not familiar with this, it is all of the top people in the world who are like the best at Excel. And they get together for this multi-day event in Las Vegas in a big esports arena. And they do competitive spreadsheeting. It is the most insane thing in the world. I learned about it when I first started and I was like, this seems wild. I myself am a very basic spreadsheet user.
Yes.
But
yeah.
But as I come to find out, it's something that was so popular with fans of Microsoft, fans of Excel. So getting really excited about telling that story. We worked with influencers, and it's such this niche, almost kind of like odd thing that the general public didn't know about it, that when they found out about it, they're like, oh my gosh, this is the wildest thing ever. We have to know more. So those are kind of like the storytelling pieces that I worked on and, went throughout those organizations. Here at the Mammoth, obviously, that's been very different storytelling for a brand new franchise. And for me, that's really how much can we tell the story of our players as much as possible to a new audience and create someone's favorite player for a state that is largely unfamiliar with hockey before the Mammoth came here. So kind of the through line with all of these is just finding ways, no matter what the content is or what the story is, to tell that in a unique way and an easily digestible way that makes sense and is exciting to people.
I feel like in today's world, hockey players are the most, like when you see the team videos and you see the videos on social media, the NHL teams are the teams today that are kind of, you're getting all of this content of showing their personalities, and every team has a different vibe to it, but it's so much fun. And I think NHL is doing it really well, and each team is doing it really well. And then it's followed up by like NFL and other teams. But like NHL has just in the last few years, you can kind of see it. It's just stood out at showing and telling the stories of the players and giving a real great look at everybody.
Yeah, I think the league as a whole and all of its teams have come such a long way in the past 5 years or so. I feel like previously it was a little behind what we
Yeah.
saw in the NFL, the NBA,
Yeah.
and in the past couple of years or so, it has caught up so much, and we have such great access to our players, and all the guys are so down to earth and so willing to do things, especially in our organization. So I think that has made a really big difference.
When you look back at the very start of your career and like interning with the Cape Cod Baseball League or even working game days with the San Jose Sharks, what are those early experiences and what part of those early experiences stick with you the most and still kind of influence your approach today, even with Utah Mammoth?
Yeah, I think in those early years, I tried to say yes to everything
Okay.
and not being above doing anything and just showing up. And I think that just being there makes such a big difference. When I was with the Born Braves of the Cape Cod Baseball League, it was so like, I don't even know how to paint this picture, but we would sit out in the grass in a lawn chair, and I would have my little laptop and I'd be live tweeting the game. And it was the most just like lo-fi thing you could possibly
I
imagine.
love it.
We had a very small press box. The entire Cape Cod Baseball League, for people who aren't familiar with it, is essentially run by interns, which is hilarious. It's all just college kids that they like let loose and they're like, all right, run a baseball team for a summer, see how that goes. So it is just like the most wild thing ever. And you have
Love
so
it.
much responsibility on you, which is amazing for learning.
Yeah.
But during that time, I tried to be at like every event I could other than just games. I think the FaceTime really went a long way when you're building relationships with players and staff. And
Yeah.
that's something that I still do today and still tell my team to do today too. It makes such a big difference. Just if someone's able to see like, oh yeah, Meredith, I've seen her before. Like she's
Yeah.
the one that's always at practice. And all of that stuff just makes such a huge difference to people,
Yeah.
I think. And then I think again, not saying that you're above doing something goes such a long way. And especially working in sports too, everyone does something that's not in your job description. I remember being at the Sharks and they did this halftime promotion called Chuck a Puck, where they rolled a big target onto the ice. People could spend like $10 and get a bag of 10 foam pucks.
Yeah.
And the announcer would say, like, okay, now's the time. And people would literally chuck their pucks
Yes.
over the boards and try to see if it would land on this bullseye that they had rolled out. And then you got to win money, which is great. Such a fun promotion for the
Yeah.
fans. But who's gonna pick up the pucks after they've already got on?
Meredith is.
That's me. So I remember like several times throughout the season, I would be a part of helping with that promotion that they did. And the ice crew would basically just shovel up all of the pucks, put them into a giant trash can, roll them off the ice. And it would have just like so much snow and gunk and whatever in with the pucks. And I would have to go in with my hands. First time I did not wear gloves. That was not the move. I wised up after that and brought gloves so my hands didn't freeze off. But I was like literally dragging or digging through a trash can to get these pucks out, clean them off, dry them off, and get them ready for the next game. So I always use that example because that was something that was certainly not in my job description, but I think it goes a long way, especially when you're super new to the industry and you want to show like, your work ethic and your reliability and dependability, and doing all these things, I think makes such a big difference when you're just starting.
And we've been talking about it, we've been mentioning it, working for Utah. This coming up season, the 2025-26 will be their second season. What has it been like being on the ground floor of a brand new professional team, and how do you approach building a franchise fan base from scratch in this digital space today?
Yeah, it has been incredible so far. I cannot say enough good things
Good.
about this past season and this organization and this team.
Yeah.
Um, Building a fan base from scratch has definitely been the biggest challenge of
Yeah.
my professional career, especially in a state that was largely unfamiliar with hockey.
Yeah.
So when I started, I implemented something with the rest of my team that we were calling the all-in approach. And that was something that was two-part to grow our audience and our follower base in the first year as much as organically possible,
Okay.
and also have the best engagement rate in the NHL, despite having
Love
by
it.
far the smallest following. We knew that breaking any sort of follower records was not going to happen since we were starting from zero, but we really wanted to make sure that this approach was, showing that the followers that we do have are engaging with and supporting our content. So doing that was like introducing hockey to the new fan base and opening up access to new fans. So we did that through over 30 celebrity and creator collaborations. We worked with Olympian Shaun White, singer Benson Boone, hockey influencer Brody True, just to name a couple, which was awesome and really helped us gain attention from those new audiences.
Yeah.
And then another big part of this too was also prioritizing that helmets off content.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, we have amazing, amazing player access, and I wanted to make sure that myself and my team were having the best player access possible, and we were there for like team moments, family skates, meetings, all of that. Our best performing content of the entire year, and I think it was fourth or fifth best across the entire league, was two of our players. This was during a family skate. It was Michael Kesselring, who was fake fighting with Michael Carcone's young son. He was having
so good.
pretended to like drop the gloves, and like him and this little boy were having a fake fight, and it was absolutely adorable. But it's capturing moments like that, again, like you just have to show up to be present for those moments.
Yeah.
And then another thing too is really capitalizing on state and local pride. One thing about Utah, Utahns are obsessed with Utah. And since moving here, I've adopted it too. I'm like, if anyone says something bad about Utah, I'm like, hang on, I will defend this place. Yeah, I die. But we're really leaning into like all of the Utah quirks, anything like hard to pronounce town names. That was one of our most viewed pieces of content throughout the entire year. Capitalizing on the dirty soda, the swig obsession, that's like sweeping the nation right now. I myself have become an addict. It's bad, but we love swig around here. And then too, another thing is understanding our audiences on our platforms and really making sure that our content is differentiated across all those different platforms. So if it's something like a really cool Dylan Gunther goal, that's a high quality video that's shared on Instagram. It's a meme on Twitter. It's a brain rot on TikTok. So really understanding our audiences and training them here in this first couple of years, like what to expect on different platforms. So that's kind of the process that we've used to help introduce our fans to all of our content and building up that fan base. But again, it's certainly a learning process and trial by error as we go, but excited to see where year 2 takes us.
Love it. And with this team being so new and the organization being so new, and then you being new to this organization as well, what's something about launching a new sports franchise that has surprised you the most, even with all of your experience and your background?
Honestly, it's how much you can do in such a short amount of time. Especially coming from tech, that is like quite literally the opposite. It's doing one thing in such a long amount
Yeah.
of time. And gosh, with this team, it's been incredible, everything that we are able to do. I mean, the team was launched in 173 days, I believe.
That's
Uh,
just crazy to me.
yeah, April of last year, and then we had our opening night on October 8th. So
Okay.
from when they got the team to opening night, it was crazy. We always compare ourselves to the Seattle Kraken. They had
Yeah.
like at least 2 years to prepare for it, and we had 173 days. So I always just think and commend our team so much of how quickly everything came together.
Yeah.
I started with the team at the end of August of last year. So I had about a month-ish, a month plus a couple days, to build an entire content team from scratch, to prepare for opening night, to doing all of the things that went into that. I remember on our opening night, it was only my second time in Delta Center in the building because they were
Wow.
doing so many renovations that they weren't letting people in. And I felt so bad. There were so many people and bigwigs in the place, and I remember some folks from the NHL came up to me, and I was so flustered as everyone was because it was opening night, our first time doing anything. And they're like, "Oh, where's this? Where's this room?" And I'm like, "I don't know. This is my second time here. I don't know where anything is. I'm so sorry." And they were probably like, "Oh man, this is a hot mess." But
Yeah.
in all seriousness, it was so incredible just launching the team in, nearly like a month once we finally got staffed up, and how much we as a team and an organization did in such a short amount of time. Truly incredible.
Crazy. I applaud you guys because that just seems, I mean, that's just nuts to think about that timeline of things.
It is wild, seriously. I
Yeah.
look back at that time and I'm like, I think I just survived on caffeine and
I was
just
about to say, did you
pure stress.
sleep at all? Like what?
No, no, not. I don't think anyone slept. We
Yeah.
definitely had lots of Alanis and oh
There
man,
you
lots,
go.
lots of caffeine.
There you go. We were talking about it briefly, but Utah is like, you think about it, one of those just winter sports places where skiing, snowboarding, it has this rich history of winter sports. How do you balance honoring Utah's sports culture while also carving out this new identity for the Mammoths and this new little spot as this hockey team?
Yeah, luckily we had a lot to play with, to your earlier point, with winter sports
Yeah.
culture, particularly, and with the Jazz too. I mean, the Utah
Yes.
Jazz have such a rich history and fan base
Yeah.
here in Utah. What's fun though is that hockey is completely different. We're seeing that people who are fans of the Jazz might not be fans of hockey and vice versa. So it's a completely different fan base, which I think is really, really interesting. Our identity is fun, it's
Yeah.
fierce, it's super unique. We're like everyone's learning, we don't have any, crazy, crazy hockey
Yeah.
aficionados fans yet.
Yeah.
It's like we're all learning together. So we really had to forge our own path. So again, lots of collabs with the Jazz. Our players were really great about going to their games and vice versa. One of the Utah Jazz players, Lowry Markkinen, he was always, always at our hockey games, and he would be sitting right there, banging on the glass, cheering.
So
Absolutely
cool.
loved it. So, kind of a fun sort of like intermingling of Utah's jazz sports culture. But on the snow sports front, that has been really fun because we've had a lot of athletes like Sean White,
Yeah.
any of the athletes from the US ski and snowboard team. We've worked with professional snowboarders Chris Grenier and
Yeah.
Sage Kotzenberg, who are amazing snowboarders and who have become Utah Mammoth fans, which
Love
is
it.
awesome. We did a snowboard collab with Sean White, and I think just like the intensity and adrenaline of professional skiing and snowboarding goes so well with the adrenaline, fighting, action-packed nature that hockey is, where those athletes really, really love watching hockey and vice versa. So it's been a really cool collab.
It's so exciting because it's one of my favorite things. I think we saw it during the Stanley Cup playoffs too. Like teams were bringing in, like we had the Carolina Panthers players sitting along our boards and they had them mic'd up. I think it's so cool when you see those collabs and the overall pride that all these athletes have for the state that they're playing for. It's really cool to see them come together and cheer on for a sport that they might have no idea or anything about, and still be able to cheering on the boards and cheering everybody on.
For sure. And Utah is such a close-knit state. And
Yeah.
like I said, everyone feels so much pride
Yeah.
for living here and being a part of it that we've worked with lots of influencers and creators who are like, I want to come to a Utah Hockey Club game last year. They're like, I have no idea what's going on, but I love it. And it's been so fun to see. And like, that's our job. It's
Yeah.
teaching people hockey and getting people excited about the sport. And I've loved nothing more than being a part of that and having someone be like, I didn't know what the heck was going on, but I had the night of my life.
Yeah.
And I think that is just so, so, so cool. And I'm excited to see how that continues here in year two.
It's my favorite thing in the world to take people to a live hockey game for the first time because it's so different from seeing it on TV to seeing it live. I'm like, there's this sort of energy that people get from it, but I'm like, people are like, this is the greatest thing ever. And I'm like, welcome, come be a fan now.
Exactly. I know it is so hard to watch on TV sometimes. Like I was following the Stanley Cup final, and sometimes you'd be like, okay, what's going on?
Where's
Like,
the
where's
little
the
black
puck? It's
thing?
so small. And it just is such a different vibe in person. I almost equate it to baseball. Like,
Okay.
baseball has such a fun sort of like Americana atmosphere
Yes.
that I love going to baseball games because the atmosphere is so fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you watch on TV, you're like,
I could go to bed. I could take a
Yep.
nap.
Yep, exactly. And hockey is so, so different in person. It's the most electrifying sport to watch in person, I think. Like the crowd is so into it. You're just like amazed at how
Yeah.
fast guys are flying around the ice, hitting each other. It's so crazy.
I'm always like, I don't know how y'all are skating backwards, but keep doing it. You're doing great at it.
For sure.
In your opinion, and putting on your content hat, like what makes sports content stick? What's the difference between a post that's seen versus one that's remembered and reshared and shown to friends around the phones?
Yeah, I think in order to make sports content stick, or really any type of content stick, it's something that makes people remember or feel something.
Yeah.
I always tell my team, like when they're coming up with content or ideating or thinking of this myself, how does this make you feel? How can you connect to something? Or how would someone seeing this feel connected to this? So with some of our more longer form content that we did this year, we really tried to lean into that. We had a series that was called Break the Ice, where we followed players back to their hometowns, old rinks, things like that. And it was this really, really sweet series where you got to talk to players' families, old coaches, just the ones who saw them develop and grow up into the NHL player that they are today. One of my favorite ones that we did was we went back to Logan Cooley's hometown near Pittsburgh, when we played the Penguins there. And you could just feel the excitement and how proud his family was of him. And he actually grew up doing Sidney Crosby's Learn to Skate program.
That's fantastic.
Which is so amazing.
So
And he went back to his old rink there, and it was so cool. It was decked out in penguin stuff.
Yeah.
And you could just see like how proud all of his coaches and the people that he played with there were of him, that he has made it, to the NHL. It's every kid's dream going through that program. And like literally the day after, he was going to play against his idol, Sidney Crosby, which was so cool. Like it just gives me chills thinking about that
Yeah.
for him, how exciting of a moment that must have been. So again, going back to like feeling something, you just
Yeah.
feel all the emotion in that moment. And, I think it really brings you closer to the player and especially for our new fans, like what the journey was of someone getting to where they are today.
I think it's when you've been a fan for a long time as well, and you see these guys and hear their stories and be able to interact with them, you get attached to these players. And especially, as you know, like we go through trades, we go through all these different things where guys leave. We become so attached, and we do have those feelings towards people where we're like, we put their numbers on our back, we put their names and everything, and it's so hard sometimes that we're like, no, our favorite players are gone, but it's so worth it because you look back and you're like, I have so many memories, or I have so many pictures as a kid with these players, that you feel those things. You remember those. Those are memories that you have. And it's so nice to be able to have those opportunities just to learn more and get more of those players.
I know. I've been thinking about that a lot, especially after our first season. It's
Yeah.
like I have never felt more attached to a team than I have
Yeah.
this team because you spend like countless hours, sleepless nights, caffeinated days just trying to do your best for this team. And, obviously it's a part of the business, but I will be, very sad to see some of them go. And, again, it's the nature of the business, but you do grow to be very attached for sure.
I'm just like, does Meredith have Alani around, like cans and cans of Alani right now, like around her lap?
I did have one at lunch before this. My boss, Lisa, she always has some in her office. So at least once a day, I'm creeping in there and I'm like, hey, can I have an Alani? Yeah, it's bad.
What is your favorite type of content to ideate or produce? Something that's lights you up every time you go and get into these environments.
Yeah, I would say anything helmets off type
Okay.
of content, fun, silly, goofy,
Yeah.
any type of personality content that shows human emotion and what someone is like beyond just being a player, which, especially when you have such a new fan base, that to me is the most important thing because, our fans are learning, but for the most part, the people of Utah aren't like, this wasn't a hockey state. It will be very soon. It already is. It is a hockey state. But, prior to that, there wasn't that much experience, with professional hockey. So we don't have tons of people who are like, oh, yeah, this is like blah, 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 record breaking. Like they
Yeah.
know everything about the game. So we really wanted to focus on the personality led type of content. And I tell my team throughout the season just to try everything and we'll see what sticks. And we're so early with the team. So we just are figuring out what the fans will like. Um, some of that fun personality content we did first thing with the guys when they arrived for our content day, which was in September. That was we brought back the cake, is it cake trend.
Okay.
Do you remember that? Like
Yes.
there would be just random household items like this
Yes. And it's
waffle.
like, is it cake or not? It's like cutting into it.
Yes, and it would be like, oh my gosh, this is actually a cake. Wild. So we thought we would bring that back. We had a local baker and artist who created cake pucks for us that we used at our content day. And we brought them in. We would have guys try to decipher between that and a real puck. And they had the hardest time with it. One was biting into the real puck. They were using fork and knife.
That's
Super funny,
fantastic.
super silly, just kind of personality led stuff. But that was our best performing content of the time, just because I think it shows, personality from guys. And all of our content from that content day
Yeah.
was our first time that fans could really get such a kind of look at our players'
Yeah.
personality. Another one that I think about that was really fun too was we did a house tour with two of our players, Jack McBain and Dylan Gunther,
Okay.
who are roommates. And they are kind of like quieter guys around the locker room. At least at the beginning of the season, they were. But we took them, we filmed them at their house, and they were just such a hoot. They bought a bunch of their stuff from Costco. There was this running joke that they had gone to Costco to get a hot dog or something from the food court and then went and bought a hot tub. So we saw their hot tub in the back. So silly. They were decorating for the holidays and
It's so good.
just such fun content where like at the beginning of the season, they were not two players that fans at least necessarily saw like the fun, funny,
Yeah,
witty personality side, but after that, they were like, okay,
yeah,
these guys are pranksters, like such fun roommate vibe
yeah.
going. And so I love all of that stuff.
It's so good. It's so funny to me. I'm like, guys spend money on the damnedest stuff sometimes. I'm like, let's just go get a hot dog and a hot tub from Costco. I'm like, adult money's funny.
It is. I will tell you, there was one scene in the video that we did where they they had this bathroom and
Oh,
it had like it was like a half hot tub, half bathtub. I think it was one of those really fancy bathtubs with like
okay.
all the jets and stuff.
Yes.
Um, and they had a big screen TV propped up on a towel, like overlooking the bathtub. And we were like, guys, this is a hazard. You're gonna electrocute yourself. But just such a hoot that our fans got such a kick out of it. They're like, oh my gosh, do they really have a big screen TV in the bathroom? This is wild.
It's crazy. It's the craziest thing sometimes. You're just like, all right, well, you just see on the news hockey player dies by flat screen TV falling.
Terrifying, terrifying. We're like, okay, please take the TV out of there. Please be
Please
safe.
don't.
We're worried.
Please don't. What would Meredith now tell Meredith intern working at the Cape Cod baseball team about longevity in the content and sports industry?
I would say the biggest key to longevity is enjoying your life outside of work. I would say that it's definitely a grind, and there's
Yeah.
no doubt about it in the sports industry.
Yeah.
Working in sports is hard, and it's not always glamorous.
Yeah.
And that's why I left for a couple years and missed it so much that I eventually came back.
Yeah.
But I think, again, the key to longevity is having a good support system and having things that you enjoy outside of work to help fill your cup so you feel recharged and ready to go when you get back. I truly could not do anything without the support of my family, my friends, my
Yeah.
fiance. When I started working in sports in college, it was really helpful having friends who were so understanding if I had to be at work late or I got tied up late at a game or had to be somewhere on a weekend. My fiance too, I mean, he puts up with me working long, odd hours, but when I come back from games, he wants to know how everything went,
Yeah.
or if I'm working late at a game, he'll come pick me up. We'll go get some late night Taco Bell and we'll recap, and truly couldn't do it without the support and understanding of that support system. And then I think the last part of this is I didn't realize early how important having a good support system at work is.
Mm.
I think I always had a good support system outside of work, but you spend so much time with people
Yeah.
that make sure that you're doing it with people that you enjoy.
Yeah.
I had always said when I left sports originally that I didn't want to come back unless there were really great people that were
Yeah.
going to make all of the crazy parts worth it. And luckily, I found that with the Mammoth, which has been awesome. But I would say too, like making sure that you have a good team and a great boss. And because you're during the season, you see those people more than you see your family
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
I have an amazing boss. She understands that work needs to get done, but especially in an off season, like you have a life outside of work
Yeah.
and certainly respects that. So
Love it.
I would say like it really all goes back to when you have off time, take the time to rest and recharge. And I think that is here being back in sports again. Like that's what keeps me coming back refreshed, ready for a new season with that good support system in place.
Meredith, my last question for you, as we've been talking about it so much, just finished the first season. What has you excited for the second season? What are you looking forward to the most?
Oh my gosh, what am I not looking forward to? I am so beyond excited for year two. I feel like I was truly flying by the seat of my pants. And I think every single person in the Mammoth organization would say that for year one, that it was like we were building the plane as we were flying it, that things were just so, so crazy that first year. And everything was being done for the first time, that you're still kind of like, what is going on? Like, this is the first time that we've done this. My content team wasn't even complete until we recently hired our team writer and multimedia reporter in like March. So now that I finally have a complete team, which I'm so, so excited about, is being able to take the time to plan this off season with them and really get excited for year two. And we have such a good team on the ice and off the ice with our hockey staff and execs, that they are so supportive of most content things that we want to do. Like they are always willing to help with our crazy ideas. I'm just so excited to see what happens this year. And again, we have such a good team on the ice that the potential of this team is
there.
It's there. I think it'll be awesome. Like now that people in Utah are used to hockey now that it's, year one has passed, I think they're getting more into it. They're understanding the game. They're tweeting at the official account. They're like, go get XYZ player, like, just understanding parts of the game. And it's just really cool. And all of everything has me so excited for year two.
I love that. I love that. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Meredith Ray. Meredith, I can't thank you enough for sitting down with me again today and talking me through your career and everything that you guys are doing. I'm so excited to see just the future has to hold for the Utah Mammoth and this team that you've got. I'm so excited for you guys.
Thank you. I appreciate it. This was so fun. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, my pleasure, you guys. I'm going to have all of Meredith's socials down below as well as Utah Mammoth socials. Please go get them a follow. Stay tuned to everything they're doing. And as always, I will see you guys back here next time. Bye, y'all.